Greetings, hunters, and welcome back to my channel. This is Yumo from Yumo Gaming, and I'd like to welcome you back to another Monster Hunter World Iceborne video. This video is going to be a follow-up to yesterday's video, which was a breakdown of the recent story trailer that Capcom has released. So the reason why I'm doing a follow-up video so soon is that Capcom has now updated their official Monster Hunter World Iceborne website with new information regarding the various things that we saw in the trailer. So I'm going to be going through the website here, and I'm going to be reading it out to you, and I'll be saying what I got right, as well as filling into details with things that we didn't quite know at the time. So the first is that the story of Iceborne, what they specifically say about the Legiana migration, is that they were spotted fleeing from the ancient forest. Now, this is important because this implies that Velkhana, who's going to be the heart of the story, is most likely chasing the Legiana to the Hoarfrost Reach. Probably because Velkhana hunts Legiana, but there might be more to it than that. But the idea that it's chasing Legiana away from their natural habitat. So this is what's causing the whole migration in the first place. It's just a line of a flock of Legiana were spotted fleeing. And then one of the first things I got right here was that I said that the Third Fleet Master and her research airship is the reason why, like how we get to the Hoarfrost Reach in the first place. That's also confirmed within this. And then if we go down here to the bottom of the story page, we have the whole little bio here of the major characters. Your hunter's not included, but these characters are the commander, the field team leader, the handler, the tracker, the third fleet master, and the second fleet master. And so we'll just go down the list here, and I'll say like what I got right here. But starting with the commander, it says that he's the man in charge of leading the research commission. We knew this. It just goes about how he was a part of the first fleet, blah blah blah. But then they go, after the construction of Seliana, which is the name of the new hub area, which we'll be talking about later. He said after construction of Seliana, he hands the reins over to the field team leader while he keeps the peace in Astera. Basically, I'm going to say right there, that was a big thing. I called that. In my breakdown video, I was talking about how a lot of the whole underlying tone was that the first fleet, the older generation, was handing down the reins to the younger generation. And I kind of called that the field team leader seemed to be taking the commander's place. This is a confirmation of that. So when in Seliana, our boss isn't going to be the commander, he's going to be the field team leader. And speaking of the field team leader, if we just go read his bio a little bit, it just basically talks about how he puts the safety of everyone in the commission above all else and is now in charge of protecting the new home, Seliana. That's the only new information regarding him. I think we can kind of skip over the handler here, but basically it just does have a little bit more about Legianas as they're being drawn by the song. So, you know, kind of conflicting information. We're not sure if they're fleeing or if they're being drawn in. Either or. The tracker doesn't really have any information, just that she, like, once she heard about the new landmass, she decided to go there because she's looking for something. I speculated that that ship that she was caught in, that one thing, was important because she seemed to know what it was. So she's probably looking for that. The third fleet master, it just basically talks about how her airship was how they got to the Hoarfrost Reach, and that she offered it simply because she was curious about the Legiana leaving. Makes sense. They're based in the Coral Highlands, where the Legianas are native to, so they would have been the first ones to know. So yeah, like that makes sense to me. And then the second fleet master is another major thing that I called and got right, and it was that he runs the workshops, blah 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 blah. But he was like fearing that running a workshop in a cold climate would result in disaster. He decides to make the voyage to Seliana, entrusting the Astera workshops to a young protege. I speculated in my previous video that one of the two apprentices you see in the background and you're forging something in Astera is most likely going to be one of the ones taking over for him in Astera. But yeah, I Got that one right. And then let's move on to the page about the new headquarters, which is the newest section. It's about Seliana, and that it runs on the land's geothermal energy. Considering there's a lot of hot springs, we already knew this. But talking about some major facilities, it says it features all the same facilities that are essential to your investigations. So basically all the facilities that Astera has. A few things to note is that beyond what we've seen before, we see that the Ecological Research Center, including the guy in charge of that, I forget what his name is right off the top of my head, and he's not even on this page, which is stupid. He has set up shop in Astera, so one of the other scholars is going to have to take his place. The Elder Melders moved to Seliana, so like I'm wondering who's going to be running the Elder Melder that's still back in Astera. The Provisions Manager actually does go to Seliana. She's in charge of the research center there, that manages the investigations and all that. The resource center, not research, sorry. And that the tech chief is actually in charge of something new called the Steamworks, which is that little bronze contraption I was talking about earlier. And I am right, you do get new items from that. You get them from collecting steam points, or I think they're called. Fuel. Fuel is what it is. And fuel, you just accumulate it automatically after completing quests. You don't have to go out and collect it. You just complete a quest, you get fuel, you take it to Steamworks to play this little mini game for a chance at more rewards. A couple other standout things is that your housekeeper is outside your new house here in Seliana, and he has a tail rider safari, so you don't have to go into your house to do it. And for the same reason, you can actually change your palico gear by going beside the item box. So they make it say the item box. I'm thinking Seliana only has the one item box rather than multiple. But that's okay because the whole point of Seliana has to be everything more accessible and easier to get to than in Astera. And a few other things just to point out is that the analytics director, the last of the three that run the resource center in Astera, it says that here that he is staying behind somewhat grudgingly. So he wanted to go, but he's being forced to stay behind to run the management of Astera because he's indispensable according to the thing. And we also got the name of the new chef in Seliana, which is the Grandmeowster chef, which is obviously a pun on Grandmaster. And it turns out that they was once the Meowscular chef's culinary mentor, and that she had been taking a break from the commission work, but was formerly of the First Fleet. Just like the Meowscular chef, which would make sense. So, moving on to information on the new monsters. We got more information with no new information on Velkhana, and then Tigrex. We kind of already know a lot about Tigrex, but we got the name of that new Legiana variant that we saw, which is named the Screeching Legiana. And it specifically says here, a Legiana variant shrouded in white frost. It specializes in freezing prey with the powerful chill it emits, then swooping down to strike at them from overhead. Now, the important thing here is that it's a variant and not a deviant or a subspecies like I was thinking. Variants are even rarer. Some good examples of that is Furious Rajang and Savage Deviljho. And in the case of like Savage Deviljho, it becomes Savage Deviljho because it cannibalizes on other Deviljho, and that's what causes a Savage Deviljho to emerge. Screeching Legiana, we don't know what causes it to emerge, but it's an extremely rare Legiana. So, it is one of the rarest classifications of monsters, and technically is the first variant we're getting in the Monster Hunter world. So there's not really much else to talk about the monsters, no new real information on those. The last piece of information I want to bring up here has to do with the ability to ride monsters that we saw in the video. It's called the Raider Ride, And it says here that the Raider Ride lets you use a small monster tail riders as a mode of transportation. Whistle to call a tail rider, and then get ready to ride. Followed up by, this is how it actually works. You pin your destination on the wildlife map, and you'll be taken there automatically. If you don't pin a destination, your Raider Ride will try to find tracks, so you can track a target while prepping for a hunt. I'm assuming this, while on a Raider Ride, you can gather, use items, and your slinger, open your wildlife map, as well as other specific actions. You cannot control the monster directly. So the whole point of this is so that you can travel vast distances quickly while prepping for your hunt. So having your max potion, your ancient potion, your mega armor skins, your nutrients, whatever you want to take for the hunt, you can do that while riding at a much quicker pace than that slow walking pace we had to do before when you're popping back that stuff. So now you can just travel the distance. I doubt you can sharpen your weapon while doing this though, just because that's something that I assume would require two hands. They don't say that you can't, but I'm assuming that you can't. One of the interesting screenshots that they have here is that they have your hunter on a Jagras firing a slinger at a Pookie who seems to already be hostile. So I'm wondering that if you're found the monster that you're hunting, if it will just circle around the monster, and so you can just fire your slinger at it over and over again. But yeah, this is it. It's a pretty short video in comparison to the last one. Just wanted to cover some of the details that they have on the Monster Hunter Iceborne website. If you guys like the video, leave a like. If you dislike the video, leave a dislike. If you have any comments you want to say, leave them down below in the comments section. And yeah, I'll see you guys later, and let the Sapphire Star light you away. Later, hunters.